You know what I'm gonna do? uh,
Make sure your green light is on. Okay, we're good to go.
okay. Who are you with?
Jane Reuters?
Who?
Reuters.
Oh, Roy.
Yeah. Could you just introduce yourself before you read the letter?
I will. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do that anyway.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And we'll spell the name too. All right, let me know when you're ready.
Is anybody not ready? We're rolling. We're all rolling? I think we're good. We're good.
Okay. Earl Ofari Hutchinson, EARL HUTCHINSON, President, Los Angeles Urban Policy Roundtable. We're in front of USC right now. We know the last week or so, it's been chaos. It's been turmoil. There's been violence. There's been disruptions. Now we have a USC major commencement graduation ceremony canceled. One of the things that we have been concerned about is that USC President Carol Folt, although she has issued statements, has not been proactive like other college presidents have been done. Columbia University and some of the other places that they've had this massive disruptions. You've had university presidents and the administration, they've stepped up to the plate. And by stepping up to the plate, we mean two things. Number one, the university president is a powerful position. Carol Folt is in a powerful position. She can make things happen. You have a number of student groups. Many of them have been very disruptive. Many of them, of course, have been in the forefront of the protests and the violence, unfortunately. So now is really the time, and we've made this call in a letter, which I'll read in a second. We made the call on the USC administration, but especially USC President Carol Folt, convene an emergency campus dialogue. An emergency campus dialogue. Bring together the different student groups. You got major issues. The issue of anti-Semitism, which is still a major troubling issue that has to be dealt with. You got the issue of divestiture. That has to be dealt with. And you got the issue now of graduation, a commencement ceremony, at least the major part of that essentially has been canceled. You don't want to have to call the LAPD in every time. And the issue is not going to go away. You've got a lot of passion. You've got a lot of anger over this issue. So really, it's really a call and a challenge to USC President Carol Folt. Get out in front. Get out in front on the issue as you can. So the letter that we did send, and she has a copy of it. So this is the letter, and we have copies, by the way. So dear President Folt, the presidents, the protests, the tensions, and the potential for violence in the ongoing protests over Gaza at USC and other Los Angeles campuses, UCLA and other places, they remain very high. The issue hasn't gone away. A graduation ceremony has been canceled. It's time to act. The action we urge you is to take and convene an emergency campus student administration dialogue. This is set a solid model, really a good model for diffusing, and remember that's the key word, diffusing potential violent confrontations over Gaza. I think we have to be clear, the issue is really a hot button, very emotional, and very divisive issue. And it comes at a time now, at the end of a school year, where you have a lot of students at USC, UCLA, and other places, and parents, and relatives, and caregivers, and those that are associated. They want to be engaged and involved with the university. You can't do that as long as this goes on. So presidents have a lot of power. Carol Folt has a lot of power. Now it's time to act. The letter went out today. She has a copy. She did issue a statement last night. Not enough. We're talking about real solid action. And by the way, action right now. You know, one other thing. When I saw this, that told me right then, when I say we're a community organization, the LA Urban Policy Roundtable. We had to move in and take action. We had to speak out. We had to say something. I think we would have been very remiss and negligent if we didn't, because we're vested in this community. We're vested in USC. I have 5 members of my family that work at USC, graduated from USC, so there's a long relationship with USC. So we really felt it a part and incumbent upon ourselves to really, really speak out on this and not remain silent. So again, we're even hoping at some point that we can meet with USC President Carol Folt and really convey in person, face to face, our concerns. Again, I can't emphasize enough the issues here. It's a very volatile issue, and it's not going away.
What do you hope comes of this potential conversation?
You know, come in, I can.
What do you hope comes of this potential conversation?
Well, what happened at Columbia University, actually the president did bring some of the student groups together. Not very successful, but at least it showed 2 things. One, the administration was willing to engage. That was the first thing. The second thing is it actually did damp down the violence. There had been a lot of violence, as you know, in confrontations, not only with administration police agencies, but with the NYPD. So that damped that down. So I think we can expect the same thing. When you have a president and a leadership that steps up to the plate and says, we, in fact, are going to accept the challenge, I think that means a lot. Leadership means everything. So what we really hope to happen is, one, a coming together, a meeting of the minds between this administration, the president, and the student groups.
Mr. Hutchinson, you've been through these types of protest demonstrations before. Explain just the benefit of sitting down at a table and starting the dialogue. Nothing's going to be done right away.
Right.
But in your past experience, what has that initial meeting, sitting down and starting the talk, has accomplished? What you've seen?
Every time we have had, when I say we, my organization, on a number of issues, we've had meetings with city officials, county officials, business leaders, and public officials when there's been an issue where we're bumping heads. Almost every time, we don't expect an immediate resolution. We don't expect, like magic, something just to go away. It doesn't work that way. But what we do expect and what we've seen, it shows good faith. See, it's the good faith part of it, that you really have an administration that I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I'm concerned about it. Doesn't mean that we're going to step in and take your side. We're not saying that. But at least we hear you. Every time there's been a dialogue, something positive has come out of that. At least it gets the ball rolling. So I think that will be the same with this. And let's face it, Carol Folt, in this case, she has issued statements, but they have been somewhat confrontational. That's not dialogue. Dialogue is give and take. And you have to be willing in the give and take to listen. Just the fact that you sit down with the other side, you're willing to listen, hear exactly what they have to say, what their concerns are, I think it means a lot.
What gives you confidence that if and when this happens, that good faith will begin and
You know, I can make a prediction. Here's a prediction. And I think when you said if and or when, see, I think it's going to happen. I think when it happens, that dialogue, I can tell you this. You're not going to have the LAPD coming back. You're not going to have campus police dragging people away, screaming and kicking. You're not going to have any of that. What you're going to have is civility. That's the key word. And you might have some resolution. You know, one of the major issues here at USC has been the issue of divestiture. Student groups really don't know how deeply engaged or involved with finances, investments that have anything to do with the Israeli Defense Force, the Israeli government, Israeli public officials. They don't know anything about that. So these are the kinds of things that when you have a conversation, you can make it clear. This is where we stand on this. So I think it's important to have public information, And the dialogue is a good first step, not the last step, but a good first step in terms of 1, diffusing, 2, sharing information, 3, listening to the other side, and most importantly, at some point, hopefully, come to a resolution. See, the main thing is we were concerned about the violence. That was the main thing. We don't want to see that.
The university shared a statement over the weekend reading in part, President Carol Folt has made numerous attempts to meet with the students, but they've declined these offers. What's your response to that?
Okay, yeah. Carol Folt, we have to ask 2 things. When you say numerous attempts, what does that mean? You got to remember there are different student groups. There's not one voice that speaks for everybody. So I have to think that when you continue, and I mean you, the president, continues to reach out to certain student groups, you will find someone that's willing to sit down and talk. I cannot believe that all the student groups are saying no. I don't believe that. But even if that's the case, continue, don't stop. Remember, you got a university. You've already canceled a graduation. Do you want to have to do that again? And by the way, that's a bad precedent. You're setting a bad precedent for the future. When you open that can of worms up, anything can happen. So coming back to your question, if you've tried 4 times, you haven't been successful, try a 5th time, try a 6th time. Is there any limit on it? We have gone to public officials a number of times and they've said no. But we haven't stopped. We've kept going back to them. And the same thing with these student groups here. There are many different student groups. You can meet with 1 or more, but meet with somebody.
Is there a mediator that needs to basically broker the meeting? And
You know, when you have a union strike, you bring a mediator in. Well, I think in this case, it's not going to happen. I think the mediator is USC President Carol Folt. I think she's the mediator. And let me tell you why. 1, she's a president. Secondly, she has a lot of power and prestige. And I think her voice is commanding. I don't think just everyone is in confrontational mode with her. And I think she'll find some individuals that are willing to talk. But before that happens, you have to take the bull by the horns. So once again, final thing. We sent a letter to President Folt, and we're hoping at the end of the day, if not before that, we get some action. Anyway, that's my statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have copies, by the way.
what was in the photo? What was that?